So a Toyota Tacoma today. This is a 2020 I believe, but 2015 to 2024 if your dash looks like this. 2 circle vents on either side. Then this is the install video for you, and this will explain what you need to do and the kit that you need to update it. So the factory radio, there's a few different options here. The older ones didn't have sort of wireless CarPlay or wired CarPlay. I think even the newer ones only just have wired CarPlay. They don't have like wireless yet. There's not too, it's a pretty standard Toyota unit. It's a bit slow. The maps aren't installed on like this one, and they charge you for the maps and they're out of date, so most of the time anyway. There's just some basic information in there. Yeah, there isn't too much going on. So they're definitely due for an upgrade. So obviously this one has steering wheel controls. There's a USB port in here. I will retain that, and obviously we have our reverse camera, so you can see that reverse camera coming up there. So all the factory options will be kept, and we'll just go through how you do the install. First thing you can do is get your trim tool that we've included in the kit, and just like pop it behind up the top here, and give it a few little twists along the top, and then go into like the bottom and just do the same thing. If you kind of put it in and do that, it'll just help them all pop out, and then you can just grab it with your hands, and that whole piece just pulls out like that. So it's a very straightforward install. It's all good. And then on here you can see you got 1, 2, 3 to 4 10mm bolts in there, so we'll undo those and then we'll pull out that and the whole unit will come out, and then we can check our unit and how it goes back in. So just undo the 4 of these 10mm, and then once you've got that last one out, what you can actually do is the whole unit's just going to pull out towards you, and then we're going to take the plugs out of the back of it. So that just pops out like that. Now there's a few plugs you can see here. All these plugs are all the same. There's a little tab you have to push down, and then they will pull out. So there you go, that's all your plugs out. If you do struggle to get them out, you can just sort of push it back in, and then push down that tab really hard, and then pull it out, and it should come out fairly easily. Let's just cover what you get in our kit here. Obviously you get our head unit built into the fascia there. You can see on the back there we have our main 20 pin plug on this side here, and then we have our auxiliary plugs, our GPS for 4G, and then like a FM, AM antenna. That's our manual there. You get a trim removal tools in the kit. You get 2 plug and play harnesses in a CAN bus box. So depending on what model car you have, you either use like this one or this one here, which just means you can just plug into your cars like factory plugs. Now if you are using like this one, you got to swap that CAN bus box over, which is the CAN bus box here. This allows our unit to talk to the car. Another GPS antenna, because our unit has its own GPS. USB retention cable to keep the factory USB port working. SIM card, another slot if you want to put a SIM card inside the unit. You can give its own data and whatnot. So camera input, so obviously reverse camera will be coming in on this purple one, and then you can run a secondary camera into our unit if you have a camera on a trailer or a second camera you want to run. Our dual USB and external mic plug, our third USB port. These USBs are mainly handy if you're going to run some of our extra accessories like the dash cam or the tyre pressure. Pre-outs if you're going to run the market amplifier, 4G antenna, external microphone, our little Bluetooth antenna, auxiliary, and again most people they won't be using this, but it does give you an option for third camera input. USB drive there to run updates, a beer cooler, OBD2 scan tool. So that's everything that's in the kit. We'll go and put it in there. Alright, so you got to go and grab this harness that's going to suit your car. You can tell straight away because some of these are small plugs, and that's this one here. So you want to grab that, and you also want to grab this little plug here, which is our reverse camera input, because what we want to do is just want to plug it in and just turn it on and actually make sure some things are going to work. So these plugs can only fit where they can fit, so you can't really go too wrong there. You should feel them clicking quite nicely like that. If they don't click in quite nicely, just double check that there isn't any bent pins in here, because sometimes a pin can get off center and you try and push it in and it doesn't quite feel right. So that's it. So we've got that left over, which will be our factory USB. That there could be the GPS. This plug we're not going to be still using, and you got some antennas here. So those are the plugs that are left over, and I just also remember that you have to swap this over if you are using a different harness. Then you want to grab the yellow one here, and you want to plug it into our purple yellow one, like so, and that's just going to test that our camera's working. So now we're going to actually put the unit in and just make sure it powers up. So we've got the unit here. basically what we're checking for is want this big plug to go in, and then this little one to go in here, and you can on this one too if you want, just to check the radio. So that's basically it. Now you want to just power the unit on and just see if anything happens. And now we're going to check that we get power, we have sound, and that we have reverse camera. So you can see it's come on already. The unit will normally quick boot. It's just a bit slow here because when you take the power out, it does a slow boot up. Alright, so I'm going to push the volume up in steering wheel control, and you can see we got that working. So that's good. Sound's working, which is fine. So check sound, steering wheel control. Alright, cool. Now the other thing we want to check is we want to put the car in reverse and see if something happens. Now we've got the trigger but the screen's blank. So I'm just going to touch and hold on there, type in 4 zeros, and it should be set to CVBS NTSC. So I've set that to CVBS NTSC. That's like the factory camera setting. So hopefully it'll just do a little save, and then you can see that settings actually come in. So that's cool, and you can actually see our lines are overlaid on the blue ones here, but you can actually see our ones actually are bringing the trajectory of the steering wheel, which the factory one didn't do. So that's quite neat as well. So that's basically it. So we're happy everything's working. So now we can go ahead and put it all in. Now there's just a few things that have to come off the old fascia and go into our fascia. So one is the aircon vents. So all you do is if you push from the front here, so I'll close these vents, and I'll push from the front, and you can just put a trim tool into each of these, and you'll push it back, and then you go into the next one, and then the next one, and these will pop out quite easily. So again, just push from the front, and as you're pushing, you just bend these back with a trim tool, and they just pop out like this. And then obviously you can just take them over to our one and put them in. So they're just going to sit in like that. It's the exact same fitment, so that's how they go in. I like to do it next to each other like this, because then I know, okay, I took it out like that, I'm going to put it straight back in like that. And then the other thing to take off is your small clips here. Now to get these off, you can actually just put a trim tool, like a screwdriver, into one side of them and just flick them up. Now just make sure to, there you go, just like that. Just make sure to put your hand over it or hold it just like I did, because they can flick off and then they're hard to find. And then they clip onto our trim like that. So that's fairly straightforward as well. So we're going to go and do this other aircon vent and the rest of these. So again, close those vents, push from the front, just get it to pop out, and then you get the next one to pop out. Once you've done two, normally they just actually fly out like that. And then again, they just slide into our one. So I've clipped this back into our one now. Just going to cover all of the wires and where to put them here. So you've got our GPS. This just means that the unit has its own GPS. It runs Android as an operating system, so you can install whatever apps you want actually directly on the unit. Can be handy if you want offline maps or other off-road maps or whatnot. So all you gotta do is peel the stick pad off. It just needs a clear view of the sky through the windshield with no metal on above. So there's no metal on the top of on the top of the dash there, so you can just find a spot and just stick it underneath the dash. So you find a spot, just stick it under there. That's the GPS. Then the exact same thing for the 4G antenna. The peel it, just stick it under the dash here. There's plenty of good spots here. There's no metal on the top of that dash, so it's perfect. Then we've got our two USBs here and our external microphone. So one USB is going to be plugged in to this plug here, because this will keep the factory one working. Your factory USB port that's just down the bottom there will continue to work, and then that can be plugged into one of them, so it'll give you a very tidy spot to have it. So that's it. So that's going to keep that USB down there working. And now the other one, we normally actually just run down and actually just hide it behind the kick panel down here. So if you just actually tuck it, you could just tuck it in up behind here, so you actually can't see it, but you know where it is, because you don't actually need it. If you've got this one here working, that is fine. And then the only reason you might be using the other ones is if you wanted to run our dash cams or something else, which means they're going to be behind the head unit anyway. Then with the third one, I would run that to that exact same spot down there and tuck it out of the way. our SIM card, I would like run that to the exact same spot, because even if you're not going to actually use it, it's very handy to be able to get to it if you do want to pop a SIM card into it. And it's like perfect down there because it's tucked out of the way. It's very easy to get to, and you can't actually tell it's there. External mic. Now we normally suggest I'll put it in and just kind of place it there and connect up your phone and then make a phone call and just test how the internal mic sounds, because majority of the time it's like fine. If you do want to run the external mic, fairly straightforward. Plug that into here, into that one on that dual USB one, and then sort of run it wherever you want to put it. Now majority of the time you end up sticking it up here, so you just have to take it past here underneath the steering wheel, and you can come up the side here. This piece of trim will just pull off again. It's got a few clips in it, and then you just want to, because there is like an airbag in here, you do want to run it in the existing cable tray that's already there. There's already cables there, so put them in the same spot in that existing tray and tape them to it, just so if the airbag it does deploy, that is not in the way. The other place to sort of run it is you can just actually run it above the steering wheel just here, which is in another sort of handy little spot. It actually just tucks in there nicely. And then again, just gotta feed it through, which you can just feed it through with your hands through here. You can always tape it onto a piece of wire or a screwdriver if it's a bit tight to get your hands down there. Then the only other thing we have is this one here, which you can just plug that straight into our unit now, because that's our little antenna. If you were using pre-outs for an aftermarket amp, you'd be using the other one. There's the pre-outs on it and it has this antenna built in. We just do it like this because otherwise those extra pre-outs take up heaps of room, and the majority of our customers don't actually need them. And then once you get all the cables in there, you can tape them up a bit more if you want. That's up to you how much you do it. But the ideal thing that happens is they sit in here and they drop down below the head unit. They'll sort of do it by default, anyway. Now some of those old ones you're not using, you can just tape up out of the way. It's up to you. You can go as hard or not as hard with tape as you like. And then all you do is, you don't bump the camera over, but you put the other unit in. Just make sure you do all the plugs, because always double check that you do all the plugs, because I guarantee you'll forget a plug. So you just want to go from and put all the plugs in. There'll be a few more than what I've put in, because I haven't actually put them all in here. But if you just go check along the whole way, and then what happens is tuck those wires up, it will start to sit back down, line it all up. And I like to just sit it there. You can even sit it there, you can even hold it, or just give it a little push or kind of hold in. And then what we do is we actually start it up again and check that everything's working again. That way, hopefully you pick up if you forgot anything, because ideally you don't want to forget anything. So this install is super easy though, which is good. Hasn't taken too much time at all to do this. So let's check the dim on the light. So then again, I double check everything again. So have you got, yep, got steering wheel controls, we got radio working, as reverse camera working, yep, reverse camera is working all good. So that's all good now. So then all you do is you just need to come around, and these little clips just go clipped back in just like that. And it looks like how it should have come out of the factory now. So you have all new and all done, new 10-inch screen, full touchscreen, HD screen in there. So very easy install. I would say it would take 90 minutes just for someone who's never done it to do it, and then it just looks good, and it gives your truck the update it needed. And then what we do is you can just connect up your phone to it. Again, it's got a wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. Sometimes you just need to turn your Bluetooth off and back on, and that'll bring it up. You touch on there, it's going to ask you a few things on your phone. Just say okay. Then it uses Bluetooth to say, hey, my phone is nearby, and then what it will actually use is your wireless hotspot to print up this. So normally when you jump in the car, this will connect up within about 15 seconds. The unit itself does quick boot, so it starts straight away, and there you have it. You got your wireless CarPlay coming up. Now our units don't have XM radio on it, so we don't have the satellite a radio. So there's like two options there. We still have traditional radio, still works, and then the other one is you could actually I just put the app on your phone, and then it comes up in CarPlay or Android Auto, and it just uses your data to get the satellite radio working. Again, it's only going to work at like places you have data, and it will use data, but the amount of data a song uses is tiny. So that is a workaround for the XM radio. We do also include an OBD2 scan tool, so that can go in, and that just connects up over Bluetooth. So what you end up doing is coming into here, searching for it. There's OBD2, and then I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or it's 4 zeros. I'm not sure. I always forget. Yep, so you can use a few different apps. There's Talk or a car scanner. It's up to you. So you get a few flashing things here, Alex saying. So the blue one's gone solid to say, yep, it's connected to the OBD, and the car's gone solid too, and you can see the data's coming in there. So that's just live data coming in from the car. So that's handy too. You can get extra data coming in if you want to check transmission temps or other things. There's different apps. So we have car scanner and Talk on here. So just a couple options. And you still get some of that data coming through under car info here. So your tyre pressure's coming in, your fuel consumption will come in. There's not a whole lot of settings on these ones, on this model of Toyota, but that's about it. So you don't get to see that maintenance history like you had before, but you can actually use the OBD scan tool to check out that sort of stuff.